it's Taz in the kitchen. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday. I have been in the kitchen. I've been up so long, I don't even know how long I've been in the kitchen. But I've been in the kitchen at least 2 hours because the sauce that I've made today has to simmer for 2 hours. So I've been in the kitchen a long time because now I'm waiting for my lasagna. Yeah, lasagna. And it's protein-packed lasagna to be done, the one that I've actually assembled. And I'll tell you a little secret. I made a little small one earlier just to test, no, I don't want to say, I wanted to test this recipe. Sometimes I don't test them first, but this one I wanted to test. And I must say, it was really, really good. So I'm hoping that the one that we're going to assemble and the one that I'm going to try with you guys will be just as good. So I'm making lasagna. So I've already made my sauce and trying to pick it up so you can see it. I made my sauce. It's not quite red. I'm going to tell you why. Because what I decided to do was I wanted to take up the protein just a little bit. And so what I did was I added black beans. Now you may say black beans. Yes, I added black beans. So of course I, started with ground turkey that I browned. I added chopped red, yellow, and orange peppers, browned that. I put some mushrooms in there, and then I added some other things. It'll be in the actual recipe, but those other things really are tomato sauce, tomato paste. Like I said, I used black beans, used my tomato sauce, and tomato paste. Well, I eat a lot of turkey. I've always eaten a lot of turkey. And one of the things that I learned about turkey years ago is that you have to add flavor because it's such a lean piece of meat that if you don't add flavor, it can be a little bland. And I can't have bland food because I eat so little. I need for my food to be wonderful. So what I did was I added a pack of Lipton soup, the onion, and then I added the beefy onion. You may say, you did that much onion? Yeah, because remember, it's not like I'm making a burger with my turkey. I'm actually making a sauce. So I'm having to layer the flavor. And so what I found is the Lipton, it is a recipe secret, as it says on the package. So I added that. I also added some Italian seasoning, some garlic. Now, I actually did garlic twice. I added the granulated garlic to the actual sauce as I was making it. But prior to that, I actually used some fresh garlic. And so I used about 2 cloves, I think. And then I just chopped that up and I actually added that as I was browning the meat. Added black pepper. Now you add pepper to taste because, hi Miss AKA. Hi D Charming and Dennis. As I try to wave at everybody here now. But you add it to your taste. Because again, you may not require that your flavorings be as in your face as mine have to be, but I need it to be in the face. Then because I was doing black beans, I decided that I would add cilantro. Because normally I wouldn't, but I'm like, you're putting black beans there. And so, like I said, it was really, really good. So, just of course, my ricotta cheese that we'll be using a little bit later. So, I added all that, and then I let my sauce simmer, and of course I added water because I didn't want it to be too thick, but I didn't want it to be too thin, and I didn't want it to stick. So you have to kind of judge that, and you want to stir your sauce often so that it doesn't stick. And as I stated, it's great. It's really good. Now my timer just went off. I'm going to look to see if it's ready. I think I may need, we're going to give me about 2 more minutes. Because normally I would cook it about on 350 for 30 to 35 minutes. So I'm going to give myself another 4 minutes just so that it can brown a little bit more. But I want to tell you what I did, how I came up with my noodle. Well, I always use what I have in the kitchen first of all. And I had bought these egg wraps quite some time ago. I won't tell you how long ago. And I bought two different brands when, 2 different flavors when I bought them. This is the Southwest style, and we'll be using this one today. And then I have the leftover, just the original one. And so what I did was, I just took my pizza cutter, and I just sliced them. Now, when I was doing it, I thought, well, do you really even have to slice them? And you don't. But I only did it because, of course, I was making lasagna. But when you cut into the lasagna, it's going to slice them then. So you don't really have to. And so I'm just going to spray my casserole dish. And we're going to add, since I've got some sauce that's already ready to be put in, and then we'll add some of the layers. So my sauce is ready, and as you can see, it's not red because I did add the black beans, and it made a big difference, but it's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some of the meat sauce on the bottom. And I'll be honest, when I made this, since I was making double amount, I didn't have enough meat. Not for me. My sauce was a little thin. So I actually had to go back and get some more ground turkey because I wanted there to actually be some meat. Because, again, I'm only eating a little bit. So when I bite into it, I want to taste a little meat here. So here's some of my leftover wraps. Strips from earlier, and as you see, I just cut them with a little, they don't have to be perfect because remember, you're layering food here, so it doesn't really matter. And that's the reason I said I didn't really have to cut them up, but I thought, well, you're doing lasagna, so it's going to be like she did lasagna, but she didn't do strips. So that's the reason why I did it for you guys. But I think the next time I do it, I probably wouldn't even do that. So what I did was here, I took 1 egg and a 15-ounce container of ricotta cheese, partially skimmed, of course. And I beat the egg and then I added the cream cheese to it. I'm just mixing this back up again. And what I did was I just spread it over the top of my noodles. It doesn't have to be done in any sort of uniform way. This is one of the few times I didn't get anal. I wasn't trying to put a certain amount on a certain spot. I just didn't. Because again, everything is going to bake together. So then what I did though, I wanted some jalapeno. I'm in love with jalapenos right now. So I just dropped them down. No particular, rhyme or reason. I just drop them in because I'm layering. So wherever they fall is where they fall. And my timer has stopped again. So once I drop this last jalapeno, we're going to pull out it was just jalapeno slices. We're going to pull out the lasagna and see what we've got. Oh, we've got something good. Let me get the other glove because I tell you, she's a bubbling. Now the hope is that it will be cool enough, because this was supposed to be done before I started, that it will be cool enough for me to taste. And given that it's so hot, we're going to give it a second. Then I'm going to try to put into it a little bit so it'll cool down for us. So what I've done is I've got my meat sauce mixture, which is ground turkey. I've put my egg white strips for my lasagna. I've added some ricotta cheese, which mixed with eggs, and I put some jalapeno peppers. Well, it's all going to be protein packed. So then what I did was, this is Italian cheese here. This is an Italian blend. So just sprinkle some Italian cheese. Then I decided, since I did have the black beans in, I'm going to add some reduced fat Mexican blend. Now you can use whatever you have on hand. You can just use regular cheddar. If you have mozzarella, you could use that. There's really no wrong thing to add. The thing to think about with lasagna is it's whatever you like. It's for your taste buds and your taste buds alone. So I've added all of my layers. So then I go back and add some more meat sauce. And really you should only, well, I shouldn't say you should only. Most times you only layer twice. I did a little more that time, the first time. And the reason being is I wanted my dish to be full. Isn't that awful to say? But I wanted it full. So that's the reason I added more. If you don't have fresh mushrooms, you can always, just use canned mushrooms if you've got them. I didn't have any fresh jalapeno, but I had some jar jalapeno. So that's the reason why I just used the jar. I don't believe in wasting food. And I've been planning to make this lasagna for a while because my egg wraps, I shouldn't tell it, but I'm gonna tell it. My egg wraps, they were about to be out of date. And I'm like, oh my God, you bought them and you haven't even tried them. And now they're going to be out of date. So what could you do that would really use them and, serve multiple purposes? And that's when I thought, well, use them as your noodles for the lasagna. But then the thing became, when are you going to get that done? Because it seemed like every time I thought I was going to do lasagna, I did something else instead. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to layer the rest of the ricotta cheese mixture because I don't plan to do another layer. I'm not going to do another layer. So I'm going to just put all of this here. This is going to be so good. I shouldn't tell you, when I took a bite into the little miniature one that I made earlier, that was my test, I was like, this is better than, and you fill in the blanks. I mean, it was like, oh my God. It was the best thing that I have had in a minute. I'm like, oh, if everything tasted this good, there's no telling how big I would be because I'd be wanting to devour everything. So, I'll just scrape this off of this spatula because we're trying to get every bit of this good ricotta cheese and the egg mixture. Okay, so we've got that. I'll try to smooth it around just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is, right now, is see if I can cut into, because we'd just be repeating the mixture here, the layers. You can see this is full of ricotta cheese. I am going to try and cut into the lasagna. Let me show it to you again, because she's not bubbling anymore, so that's a good thing. But I know she's hot because even when I tasted the other one, it took it probably, well, it stayed hot the whole time. And I cut into it like 16 minutes after it had come out the oven. And it was still piping hot. So I know this is going to be hot, but we got to try it though. Oh, this is real saucy too. Oh, I like that. And as I said, I only let it stay in 30 to 35 minutes. And the reason being is the only thing that you're cooking is the actual ricotta cheese. Because it's got that egg in there. So you're really not cooking the cheese. You're really cooking that egg that's there. And so that's the reason why I don't let it stay in too long. Plus, I do want some sauce. I don't want it dry. Because earlier when I did it and I didn't have enough sauce, well, I had enough sauce, I didn't have enough meat. It was a little too dry for me. And I said, nope, we can't have that. Because I need this to be really tasty and it needs to be good. Now, this is what happens when you got to put your plate down because you got to hold the dish because it is hot. So give me just a moment. Someone says to me all the time, why do you whisper? Well, it's like, it's a story. It's a story and it's something secretive. And, You're trying to work your way through it. So I find myself whispering. I don't know why. But we're trying to make this work. And this is just like noodles. You know, when you're trying to cut into something and it just doesn't cut right the way you want it to cut. So that lets you know it's just like real lasagna. And it is real lasagna because it's really good. Okay, here. Now I'm going to try to cut out a piece that has, you can see the noodles. And of course it's going to be hot. Hot, hot, hot. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. So, here it is. I've got my lasagna and I've got a little salad over here. It's just a little lettuce, strawberry, a little blueberry, and feta cheese. But the star of this dish, which is piping hot, is going to be the lasagna. So, let's see what it tastes like. Let me spread out a little piece so that it cools down, because you know it's hot. You can see the steam rising off of it. It's like, cool down, cool down. Let's see if I can eat some that's cool. Trying to show you some of the cheese. That's some cheese right there. That's some meat and some cheese. This is my way of spreading it around so that the noodles and everything cool down some. That's a noodle, which is an egg white. That's an egg white, which is my noodles. So let's see if it's spread around enough so that we can try to taste some. There's some sauce and noodle. If you can see my feet, what I just did was I took my shoe off. And you know how it is when you're eating and something tastes good and you just take your shoe off? Yeah, I just took my shoe off and I've got one foot sitting on top of the other foot, so that lets you know it's good. It's good. And by spreading it out, it's cooling down for me. Now I will taste the strawberry and lettuce. Because you know, you could have this with any vegetable that you want, but I had a salad, so I said, why don't you have some salad with it? I didn't add any dressing to my salad because for me, I knew that I wanted this to have my lasagna not to be dry. So I knew that it would be enough, enough sauce there that it would be able to take care of any need for dressing for me anyway. But then there's sometimes that I can eat a salad without any type of dressing. It just depends. I will be honest, I'm not a big salad person, but when I'm on a salad kick, I'm on a salad kick. And so I'm sort of getting on a salad kick right now. We're going to try it again. I had a jalapeno that time, so it was even better because that meant my ground turkey was elevated with just a little kick because I added pepper to taste. I didn't want to add too much stuff because, again, I'm adding the Lipton soup mixes to bring up the lasagna because otherwise it would have just been turkey lasagna. But this is not your mother's turkey lasagna. This is the best turkey lasagna protein packed that you will ever eat. So, as I eat my next bite. I normally say I want a crunch, but this is so good I don't need a crunch this time because it's just so good. So what I did was, like I said, it was very simple. I combined everything, let the sauce simmer at least 2 hours. The longer it simmers, the better it gets. And then I just assemble. And so just do 2 layers. You know, I'm going to put a few jalapeno peppers on here so I have a kick. And I'm going to add some cheese. And then I'm going to pop this one in the oven. So it'll cook about 35 minutes on 350. It's wonderful, protein packed, the best turkey lasagna. cheese filled that you will ever eat. This has been Taz in the Kitchen. Thank you for joining me, and as always, make sure you take care of you so that you can take care of someone else. Bye now.